I've looked forward to meeting you. Away.
This is a Kurogiri guide. I'm going to try to go over everything that I know. Combos, his functions, his bugs, the hidden tech, everything. In this section, I'm going to try to go over everything alpha related. When it comes to combos, just for any section, that's going to be towards the end of the video. Now, his alpha is his biggest weakness in his kit, because as they move away, they're not going to take much damage since the alpha only hits a couple ticks. So a couple things you can do. You can aim where they're going to run to and ahead of them, or you can aim, if you don't have an angle, you can also aim like against the wall if they happen to be next to the wall. If you're in a 1v1 and they're jumping, shooting, I suggest practicing with someone in 1v1s, but the only option is to really aim low. So you might hit their feet, maybe one tick, or you might get lucky, catch them when they land, and you get a couple more ticks. So those alphas, hitbox on the edge, go through walls and such. Now when you get hit by abilities, when sprinting, that's when you stop sprinting. And so you have to like re-sprint. Now when you get hit by ability, everyone just rolls. So what you do is, if you throw an alpha like one tick, someone is on the ground, I'll promise you, learn how to do this. This is OP for every character. When they roll, it's so easy to punish rolls. It's insane that not everyone does this. You don't just spam alpha, you actually have to wait a little bit, have some patience for the roll, and have quick reactions. Same thing with betas. You throw an alpha, someone's going to roll, now you can land your beta, because your beta is the hardest thing to land. So it's a good setup if you do get one tick. Unfortunately, it only works on ground characters, and everyone's flying these days.
Got you.
Another time to use alpha is a flesh checker. If someone's on shield, maybe you don't want to steal them. But if someone's on flesh, you do. So you can throw an alpha. Now let's say your gamma's low to where a beta will consume it. You can throw an alpha and then a beta, since you're going to use the beta and use the whole gamma meter anyways. You can just throw an alpha first real quick. So after you throw an alpha through a gamma, that's going to stop team heals. It's going to create pressure. If you keep throwing more alphas, more damage, but if you're missing alphas and not doing damage, your gamma port is going to go away quicker. So instead, or there's other situations, this would be good. You can think on your own. You can just throw an alpha and just hover them. You can just keep the pressure on them and make them keep running and running and running. And then when you see them pot again, then you can throw your next alpha. You know, alpha does knock down fast, so there's situations that you would want that to happen. I'll go over more details on the combo route, but it's good for combo finishers. It's safer, quicker, does more damage in certain combo routes than other ones at certain levels. This beta section is going to be huge. So in the beginning, we're going to talk about kind of the functions and foundations of it, not necessarily how to apply it. His beta has a little bit of a delay. So if you click something and then move your cursor, it's going to go to where you initially clicked. So it makes flick shots like a lot harder, because I'll like click when I feel like it should come out, but you just gotta work with that. Additionally, if you are rotating to left when you throw your beta, as in if you're facing more left than right and you throw your beta, it's gonna go to a little bit of the left of the cursor. Now, if you are going to make a right rotation, now it's like more in the center of the cursor. If you're looking a different direction when you're holding beta like this, that will spawn the way you're looking. And gamma doesn't work unless it's the very last one. Also, another aim thing for everything is aiming on the right side, you're going to be more likely to hit things than versus aiming on the left side of people. And his beta has quite a big hitbox on the verticality, like on the bottom of the verticality of it. Shouts out to Mandude, #1 salesman. These settings affect how moves can work. So it used to be at lower settings you could steal less, and at higher settings you could steal more. That may still be true, but they did fix his portal bug. But there was a way around this to make it to where it's stole consistently no matter what. And if they are in the air, I'm thinking they still might not get stolen. So what you would do is, no matter what setting, higher I assume better, but it was super consistent either way. When they get hit, you let go of the beta, or the gamma beta. So in training, if you really want to test it, you would spawn on here with all the bots. You destroy this thing right here, and so they get someone else to destroy quicker. And so when you hit reset position, they will all spawn there, and then they will start falling. So when they start falling, you can test it out with the gamma and like hit them, and then let go, and it will steal them. Because I assume if they're in the air, it's hard to steal. There's a little bit of a timing to it, but it's pretty easy to get down, especially now that it actually steals more frequently. Since we're on the HC topic, it used to be on limited settings. You could tap it, it would make the portal right here, but the damage will go all the way down, just like that. But it actually wouldn't steal them. It would make the portal close to me. That would happen on unlimited settings and on 240 hertz. In case they bring that bug back, I'm telling you guys that it exists. Continuing with HC settings, I haven't done too much testing. I absolutely know this happens on unlimited, so I'm assuming higher. Maybe on 60 it happens less, but sometimes your gamma will not damage. There's a certain time it will and won't, but it should never happen while they are in the air, and it did happen on unlimited. So maybe lower frames or 60 hertz will avoid the no damage bug, but I'll tell you guys when that happens. See, no damage, damage. At the beginning of the roll, that's what you will get a no damage. So sometimes at the end of the roll, you won't get damage. You see how I did a double gamma thing? It's not necessarily, I think, you getting the no damage bug. It's that since there might be a little delay with that portal that came out, like the first portal really didn't exist, it was the second portal that came out. Some weird shenanigans to where basically at the end of the roll, they really rolled into it and it just sounded like they got hit. But that shouldn't be too much of a problem. I don't know when the double gamma thing comes out and staggers like that, but if you don't get damage at the end of the roll, that's most likely what happens. I'm not too sure because it's new bugs this patch. Now if they're close to you like this, because of that bug that I mentioned earlier, you're going to do no damage because this portal's, the first portal is the one that's actually spawning and then moving them. Very obnoxious. Now that bug seems to happen less on an actual person than it does, so maybe it doesn't matter as much. But it did bug once so far, but it's not bugging nearly as much as it used to. Now, something that didn't used to be a thing is a thing this season. It happened to me one game, but I would melee them and they would go back to the portal. Now I'm not exactly sure when that happens right now because I went to customs and tested it on a bot or a real person because training mode works a little differently versus customs when it comes to Kurogiri, but I'm not exactly sure when it happens. Maybe it happens when you're host in a server, or maybe just a random thing that happens every so often games, but it's a big deal. It might happen after you throw a second one and then throw a melee for this next reason that I'm about to show you. Now this season, when you throw a beta close to you, it'll send them to the second one. Again, I should have tested this in customs, but I believe that's just kind of what happens, or maybe that's why the whole melee thing sends them back. Perhaps I meleeed them through the second portal that existed in the weird angle, and then they got sent back. I'm not exactly sure, but that's a thing. Now you can tap beta, it does no damage, but it'll send them away. Same thing with the hold beta version. If you hold beta and you can put it on top of them, it'll send them away. Now it does want to spawn away from them for some reason, like code it that way. That's just a thing. Same thing with teammates. You can tap beta and do the hold beta. That includes if they are downed for enemies and allies alike. Now gaming functions. Space, up, crouch down. I just learned the whole crouch thing. Shouts out to Lucky S. I don't know why I didn't think about that. So if you're going straight and you want to look up and go up, it's just better for you just to press up because then you don't lose your momentum. Same thing with going down. You tap it, you teleport, hold, cancel. I'm over this character after. This is some hidden tech, but I'm gonna rant a little bit. I'm just so upset they changed the whole gamma,
No escape.
beta, portal doing damage and not stealing. That makes me not want to play this character at all. So this is why I'm that is the reason why I'm sharing this, is because I'm like done with this character because of that. Now this bug works on all settings, but the lower settings, I mean at least 240, I think it's consistent enough. If you want to go 60, maybe it's more consistent, but unlimited, it's not as consistent. So for that reason, I say don't play Kurogiri on unlimited. So when you jump, when you are going up and you're next to a wall, press gamma,
Please wait.
boom. Same thing with beta. Jumping up next to a wall, boom. Now this wall right here, like in certain spots, like kind of in the middle, it doesn't work even though it should. I am on limited settings. If you want to test out like, the exact nuances and the exact timings and whatnot, and try like do it at the same exact spot, like make a point, like maybe you want to aim right here every single time. I think maybe aiming to the right, maybe aiming to the left might work more or less. I don't exactly know. But it's a good spot to practice if you want to try to figure out why that is, and just go on limited settings so it works even less off. Another bug, hold space, boom. So that bug still works, and he's still rezzing them, or getting that civilian. Same thing with boxes and such. Now if you do it and you put them in the air, like if you use it with the beta, or if you have your gamma doing this and you do it, I believe since they fall down, they will not be able to do anything, it will cancel it. Now, if you hit them, we're supposed to kind of go on ground a little bit, it'll reposition in the air, and when that happens, that means they're going to be in the air when they come to it. Now, I'm not sure if this only happens when they are going downwards in the air, or maybe if they're just moving in the air at all. They will fall down when you hit them with the beta, if they're doing that. You can still hit them, but that's just the animation that happens. Now, falling betas, if you catch them in the air, if you aim it more on the ground, they will be spawning in the air, because earlier I told you, if you aim it on the ground, it repositions in the air. So you can just throw betas out if you just rather do that. But again, that can happen. Now when it comes to the combos, you gotta learn down power of moves. At 500 down power, people fall out. You can test a bunch of things to find out what works, but his alpha, pretty much every tick is 65 down power, I'm assuming. So when you hit 8 ticks, it goes away, and every alpha is what, 5 ticks. His air melee it's less than 250, but I'm not exactly sure. It could be 240 for his air melee. I don't know. And his beta is like 125, I assume, because you can only do 4 betas in a row, and then they get knocked down. Now I'm not gonna show every single combo, but I'll just give the ideas of the combos, and then you can piece them together. So for example, air melee into anything on shield or health is a combo. All of his melee strings are not like technically a combo as they get the regen, but it comes out so quick, like 99 times out of 100 it's a combo. If you're laggy, then maybe it might not be a combo. Now his melee has less stagger at the end, I believe, than a double melee will. So if you want to do a melee into gamma, just go for another melee if you can, and then try. The times you do want to go for a regular melee is if you want to stall for whatever reason, like your teammates are down, they need to come up, you can do that. Or if you have teammates and you don't use their big moves and it's just better for them to alpha or whatever, then you can just throw your regular melees out. As the air melee beta, you have to be more intentional with the beta because most of them, like, you'll do some weird stuff like that. So when you air melee, you like want to hold backwards when you throw the beta. Now if you're using 2 betas in combos, you should learn when to throw a melee so you can get more damage. So if you do air melee to 2 betas, you can't like throw any melee afterwards. You can't do any move because they have knockdown. And that's just 2 betas in air melee. But if I do air melee, beta, melee, and then another, then you get some extra damage in there. So when you do any beta combo into melees, you'll go through. That'll happen often. So instead, you can turn to the side and then start doing whatever you want. Taunt shield, like I said, melee is not truant to anything, but 1, from the air, you have more time to do things. 2, you can throw another move, and like a gamma, you have super armor, so you'll be able to hit them anyways if you want to end with that. Or lastly, if you want to throw a melee into an alpha, they still can maybe do a move, but even if they do a super armor move, they'll end up wasting it. It probably won't hit you. I believe you can do alpha and roll if you really want to dodge it. Now shield, let's say they are on the ground. Like, I feel like they have a lot more time to react in this situation, so that combo is probably better for when they have health. You can test it out with someone that can roll or do whatever. So depending on your tunings, this is better than going for the melee into the air melee, because air melee is a little bit slower and they might be able to interrupt and do something and trade, but the alpha is pretty much guaranteed you're going to get some damage without any repercussions. And when the alpha is this high, based on tunings, it's going to do just as much as damage. Now, there will be very niche situations where you don't want to do this, such as if they have knockdown power already, and the only thing that's going to kill is your another beta, for example. But for most cases, if they're in the air and they are falling, always go for melee. I like walking forward and throwing a melee. Also, if they're on shield, maybe that might be a time you don't want to do this, just because sometimes they'll be on the ground instead and be more actionable in more ways quicker. Also, your melee doesn't go into any other combo except, you know, the triple melee. So when they are falling and you want to throw another beta, if you're too close, some walking stuff like that can happen, like I showed you. But if you're too far and you do it on your second one, then you might not be able to hit it, and it will look like it hits and you do no damage, but in reality what happens is they touch the ground before, like this, and then they just teleport it through. So that combo works. For some reason it wasn't working on the bots. Maybe I got lucky this time, but the bots seem to like be launched lower in the air versus people. Now here's an advanced idea when it comes to combos. So when you get them on the ground and you throw the second one and you're close to them, it does a little extra stack. You're gonna get some clip farming material from this point on. Now you're not always gonna get that set up, but they do spawn in the air often nowadays, so you still can get it without that setup. Now you don't always have to hold it all the way, of course. You can hold it as much as you want, or you can just position yourself and tap press. Melee into beta is true on health. I could have misspoke earlier. Let's clear that. Shout out to ShadowMex, because this didn't used to work on bots, and I didn't know, but he told me it works on real people in games. So that tech is meant for zone. It does more damage. Also, if you want to do that on down bodies, that works. And there's reasons to not go for the combo that knocks in the air, because then you can do something like that. Also, if they're on the ground, let's say, you can use this on them to steal them on the ground. Same thing for your allies and teammates. Now for your allies, please tell them to slow get up. And also ping portals for them, because if they're on the ground and they slow get up, it's so much easier to steal them versus them getting up and moving around. Anytime you land a beta, you can always go through it. Now, I can't say I'm going to name out every single reason or niche scenario you would use this for, but one of them is for if the last, let's say you do a triple beta, or maybe that like they're going to get knocked down if you do any other move. And so instead of like getting a knockdown on a melee only, you can go through the portal and they will still be up. Now, after someone doesn't take damage for like a couple seconds, like not that long, the knockback will reset like completely, or at least it will go down. I'm not exactly sure how it works, but as you can see now, if you wait a little bit, they don't know where you're at, you go through the portal, then you can just maybe do another whole combo on them. Now, I don't know, I believe if they're falling down, they still take damage. Like when they're getting up, they're not going to be able to take damage. And I mean take damage from Storm. I think only hard knockdowns will let you not take damage from Storm. So let's say you do like a double beta, before your last beta, you can do a tap beta and send them to storm. Now, they're taking damage, probably 2 ticks, so that's 40 damage. They're in storm, so once they get up and have their iframes, they're probably going to take another tick of damage. So late game, that's 60 damage. Now, also they have to use an ability to get in storm quicker most of the time, or they might take another tick of damage, and that's less offensive tools for them. Just throwing out some theories and some reasons why you might want to tap beta instead of using a full beta, or if you want to do something else in a combo route. So I probably should have said this in the very beginning. So when it comes to Kurogiri, some things you need to think of when implementing any strat that you get from this whole guide is like repositioning, and this goes for you or your team, like safety, such as getting team heals off or a good spot in high ground, dodging moves, hiding, put them in an unsafe spot for them, such as towards another team, low ground, in the zone, or simply out of the way so they're not a threat, and then you can 1v2, 2v3, etc. Stalling cooldowns for your team, or for your teammate getting a team heal off. It just gives you time to do whatever when you put them further away. And damage reasons, obviously, in combo routes, figure out the damages. Put them in the air, or more damage from your team for beamers, or for the zone take damage. And if they have to use air options or no mobility options, which makes them waste a move, etc., etc. You do have to execute this fast, or they'll fall down if you don't do it quick enough. And then you can't land that last one. They fall down. This section is meant for beta usage when it's not hitting an enemy. So, let's say you are miss on someone. I like to aim a certain way to where I can at least use my beta again quickly and efficiently. If it's like too high, then and I can't jump to get it, or if I have to jump to get it, it takes a little bit more time, or I might have to use the resources to use it as well. Now when it comes to his betas, tap beta will spawn closer to you, and you can always go through it depending on your speed and velocity. If you hold beta, you have to walk a little bit more distance or whatever, and you'll never be able to go through it. So let's say you're in the air, you tap beta, and you can go through instantly. Now it doubles up as it closes the last portal, so they have less time to get to it. Also, you can angle it down, depending on how fast and what angle you're looking at. This will work. It varies, of course, and the reason why you want to do that is so you can reuse your own portal, and so you can use your revive in case your team is down, or you can use a team shield as well. So if you want to throw another long beta, you have more time to get through this beta, but if they get staggered, and then they would have to use another air option if they have it to get through here, while you can just tap beta and go through it. And you can repeat the process in any fashion that you want. You can also start with your own gamma and just same difference. Like I said, if it's on the ground, I like to come back through when an enemy comes through. Maybe leak an alpha there, or melee them twice, because when you melee someone twice, you do go through. Or if my thing is in the air and they're close to me, I'll do this maneuver. You jump before you leave the ground, do the rotation, and come right back. And of course, if you go too far, you can always go back to your own portals. Now, if they add pings on maps, it will make this easier, so you can see the ping on map if you were not looking at your portal when you do this trick. But nonetheless, you have a portal, you throw beta, and now your portal is spawning all the way over there, and you're connecting two whole different sides of the map. So in a way, it's like you can get double the range onto a portal. Additionally, forgot about that tech. As long as you're holding beta, even if you hold cancel, it will still keep going. So as soon as you throw beta, you hold cancel to teleport, it'll keep going. It's min-maxes the time that you're in that space of lockout.
Enter.
Now, on wake-ups, there's two versions of this. You look straight up,
I'll suck
and you throw
in.
beta. That's about 8 frames, that's the quickest, but that's not the most consistent, or at least hasn't
Eliminate.
been for me. Maybe new patch, new things. I tried even walking a little bit left when I did it to see if it happened more frequently, but 8 frames. Or you can look almost all the way up,
Abduction.
do this. Now it's a little bit in front of you, I mean, you tap and you walk in there. That's about like 13 frames. So those are two good get up options.
Restart.
Now this version, I don't know why I feel like I get hit by that
Abduction.
more often. I could be wrong. Maybe it's more predictable. I'm not exactly sure.
Restart.
But you can also try to do it on instant get up instead of running, sprinting, and then do it again. But the only problem is you can only go the direction you're facing what is going on. Such as if I'm facing this way, I would have to wake up that way and then throw a portal.
Restart.
So the two other options is
No escape.
you're against a wall, you have super armor, and then you teleport yourself. Now that is going to happen. When it happens, it is predictable, but it requires more information than I'm willing to handle. Part of it is because it's against this slope, I believe, because that doesn't happen during walls. Like right here, if I'm facing
You ruffian.
this way, it should not work at all. Let's get rid of that portal. Now this should work.
Got you.
Same thing with this. If you don't want to teleport yourself and cancel the ball, you jump up and then you have the ball. I misspoke earlier. Apparently they switched this, so when you press gamma, whatever way you're facing, you're gonna face during the gamma. So if you're against a wall and you want to do the tech, you gotta hold a little bit to the left and you'd be coming out looking to the left of this. But if you aim down, like right before you throw the gamma,
No escape.
just tap it and you'll go the direction that you want to. So how beta portals likes to spawn is, it likes to spawn towards the center of the map, depending on where you're at. So I'm in the upper right quadrant of the map, and I'm going to look this way.
Got you.
It's going to spawn like on my right side more so than my left side, because there's a certain zone to where it's going to want to spawn to the right side, all the way over here.
No escape.
And if I'm like looking towards the center of the map, it's like pretty much going to spawn in front of me. Now it's a little bit to the right, but that's still the direction it's gonna spawn. And again, certain parts of the map, it just gets a little confusing and wonky. And if I'm looking to the left,
Wait.
right here, then
This may hurt.
if I can forget aim,
Wretched fool.
then it's gonna spawn more so on my left. It won't be spawning on my right at all. And some parts of the map, like your gamma will spawn like way left or way right. But that's the general principle: is it wants to spawn towards the center of the map, and it depends on what way you face and how it's going to come out.
Better place.
So if you're right here, you see how this goes diagonal. This will be a little bit more confusing when you have something going diagonal. Which way it spawns, you can figure out on your own time. But for the main purpose of it is to use it against like pretty much horizontal spaces. So I'm on the left side of the map. The center is like towards here, or towards back there, right? I'm going to be looking a little bit more to the left,
No escape.
and it should take me.
Please wait.
So once you just kind of figure out how that works around the map, you can go training grounds, go to a building and test it on all 4 sides of a building and a certain part of the map, and then etc., and you'll kind of get it down. Maybe someone can make a map of that. That'd be dope. When you're opening chests and things, I do believe they buff the duration of the portals itself, but I like throwing a portal out before I open something up in case I get jumped, or a civvy. Also, Sue, shouts out to Sue, he says it kind of works on like a smoke screen, and so if you're like right here, like it's not going to be too easy to see you in the midst of chaos, especially, and in the lower levels, like they might not have to see you completely. No offense. But, so if you're running away and you break vision, they're going to assume you go through a portal most of the time, right?
Welcome.
So there's times to do this and not go through the portal, for example, or just to block it so they have to go through the portal. Or maybe you're inside here and you want to defend this little section. You can also use your portals to do something like that. I forgot to mention like my favorite tech.
I'll suck you in.
Every Kurogiri is gonna start doing it once you learn it, because it's way too good to not to ever do it. So
Welcome.
just you have a couple setups. You're on the ground.
Wait.
You look up. You have a pot, and then you pot. You go through. You fall down. It gives you time, and you can use your own portal again, and keep looping it, looping it, looping it. Now,
I'll suck you
you
in.
can also set up. If you're ever in the air,
No
you can just look
escape.
straight down. Same thing. And then once you touch the ground, you can pot up. Same difference, and just do a loop. Now, if you're ever hiding in the bush, you know,
I'll suck
you can do some
in.
cheesy stuff, because a lot of people won't see you in the bush, and then once they come, they're out of here. That's pretty well late game. Also, just in general, if you're facing an Ida, for example, you can always have a portal in front of you and just fight around it. And he has to be able to dodge this. Or you can predict someone's move,
I'll suck you in.
and then like a million, and then put that in front of you and then send them way out. The amount of kills you would get with that alone, like especially if you're running away, you don't leave it down. Especially if you go up through like the lift and the elevator in that one map, where they pretty much can't dodge it, you're gonna get some work out of that. You put the tunings for things to figure out what works, what doesn't. They go over what tunings doesn't work. Like alpha damage doesn't increase your alpha damage, but like HP damage will increase the alpha damage overall. So you can experiment with some of these things. Tunings are kind of subjective a little bit, but of course this is the best. I like Hawks a lot. It's really good for 1v1s, line of sight, chasing down. You get to land more betas because you know where they're going to be at if you go around a corner. Same thing with alphas, etc, etc. Wall runner is kind of fun. I don't think it's good, but you can use it whenever you want. He does need defensive tuning, in my honest opinion, and I think you should run Sicily in the beginning at least, just so you can learn how to play him, because he's very punishing. But Sicily is good. Civ Rescue, he's good with that too as well, because he can go anywhere. What else? This is complete support. Reinforce is pretty good late game. Zoe convinced me like it's not the worst thing in the world to take Reinforce, and I guess it saves some potions, whatever. And then you can go Coda Finder. You're pretty much being the first one getting Coda, so that's not a bad one to get as well. Aizawa perk, obviously, that's like goated. So always Aizawa if you're gonna run purple anything, because you have time to go through your portal, shield up real quickly, pretty much for free. And then whatever you want here. Twice. I mean, you can run some twice. He doesn't need levels. It's not the worst thing. Or maybe the shield, the Toga one, if you get good with him. Double purples, it's more for fun. Zabo, of course. And then this one, Dabi. I like running Dabi, but that's like really just for fun. You need 2 purple cards if you're gonna run this one, to be honest, because of how it stacks. It got cut out. Untitled.com. Characters. Click character, click costume. Now, back to Dabi tuning. And this is just information on how all cards work. They don't stack like flat. So if you have like 2 red cards, right? Which is 10% damage. It's not your ability times like 20% extra damage. So it's not going to be 100 times 1.2. That's not how it's going to come out to. It's going to be 100 times 1.1 times 1.1. So instead of 120 damage, you get 121 damage. So the same thing for Dabi cards. You have your ability, let's say it's like 10 seconds divided by 1.5. Now you have another card, and you want to use that, you divide it by 1.5 again. And then you have another card, you divide it by 1.5 again. So you have a 10-second ability. If you have everything going, you can reduce it down to 3 seconds, essentially. Now, if it's a super long ability, right, like 70-second ability, this thing only lasts 20 seconds, and then cards only last like 5 seconds each. So if you do the ability 70 seconds divided by 1.5 divided by 1.5 divided by 1.5, it comes out to 20 seconds. Now, your cards only last for 5 seconds, so it's not really the number you're going to get. It's not going to be 70 to 20. So there's some other math you got to do for that. You can figure that out. I had a hard time with it, but run purples with Dabi if you're gonna go Dabi. Ibra is good. In general, you want offense and defense things, whatever. But Ibra is good, but this I don't care for. French Strike, like if you run the other ones, cool. For his basic tunings, Zawa's bugged all games still, I believe, so run Zawa, or you can run the rescue one. Kurogiri's works all game, but you can't go it on Kurogiri. Maybe if they ever change that. Or you can go this, you can go Ibra for the first box, and you can go Lemillion, so you get the guaranteed box level 1. If you want to run this, another thing you can do is you can run Embrittlement, so your moves will hit harder with your melee combos. There's other opinions on tunings, like you could go to the official Discord, you can ask about tunings, people have their own takes, and you can run whatever you want. There's probably some other cool things you can do on this character as well. Like now that there's a strike red, like for this one, if you don't want No Coda, maybe you can do the Shinzo melee one, and then you can do some probably cool things with your portals. But I would go to the official Discord and ask about the tunings themselves if you want someone else to talk about the tunings and have their opinions on it, because I'm not going to go over every single one. Now there's another website, ultrarumble.com. I go in here to like get more information on the tunings themselves, and then you gotta go costumes, click something, you click the special slot, and it'll tell you certain things like how long it lasts, like this activates in 0 seconds at max, or this is how much PU you get, whatever. The sub effect stands for certain things in certain situations, such as all for ones. It'll say sub effect 5, that means the cooldown is the ability divided by 5 essentially, or maybe Endeavor, it's your regular ability, whatever it's going to be, times 1.5 when you PU. There's probably more matchup ideas, but generally speaking, you just want to know when to roll, when not to be in the air. Like versus Rapatoga, you don't want to be in the air because her beta is just going to catch you and you're going to take a trillion damage. Or versus Ochako, you don't want to be in the air because her gamma, etc., etc. So think about that, and also when they are stationary, such as Ochako throwing something, or when the Deku does a slam, right? You can dodge, roll it, make towards it if you time it, and then punish him. So that's just matchups. It's just you want to learn when to stay on the ground, and when to roll, and when to throw your betas, because it's all about being able to land your betas and alphas when they are stationary in some type of format. If you're in zone, you can like perfectly time it to where you take no damage. You walk in and out. It's a very cancerous strat now that his gamma works super well. Beta, you're way out there. They're way out there. Now you're way in here. That's gonna be obnoxious, bro. Low order, a little bit subjective. Beta 7, of course. You can get away with Gamma 7, honestly. If you want to be Gamma bot, and you just gotta use your betas more conservatively. Alpha, I think Alpha 4 is fine enough. If you want to min-max your damage and get as much damage as possible, then of course you go for max Alpha. But the size, I think, is good enough for 4, and then after 4, you can start keeping green cards. So if you want to do the double man strat and be able to be in zone and heal and do all these other things, he can use green cards really effectively and kind of needs them low-key. Like if he was a technical, it would be so much easier to use this guy because I would just stockpile on green cards. That's the shouts out to W-Man for practically inventing that. Now on his res, he'll revive everyone, bring everyone to the spot. So if both of them are down, cool, you're only using one. If one's down already, let's say one's down already and there's another one that just went down. If you're near him, I think the manual help button, right, whatever that button is for you, if that's highlighting on them, it's like, I think you're too close. So if you're too close to him, and it might have to do with the wall as well, like if you're right flag against the wall, I'm not exactly sure, but if you're in proximity to something, right, sometimes you'll try to hit the res button and your other down teammate will not come to you. Maybe they fixed that, maybe they didn't. Now let's say you have your teammates, they're both like one shot, right? You're just waiting to hit the res button. But in the meantime, maybe another enemy's approaching, who knows what. But let's say they're just stalling forever, but they're not going to get any damage off, right? Just tell them to kill themselves so you can get in the fight and do something. Because when someone just lasts forever, in certain situations, it's like, it would just be better if you died sooner. Also, that you want that to happen. Let's say this person's like 1 health, and this person's at like 200 health. And you will have 1 res left, right? Now this person with 1 health, let's say he's super defensive and just survives a super long time, and this guy starts going down to 1 health. Now, when you only have 1 res left, it's like you're going to be lucky to pull one of them and res the other one. Right? You might not have time to do that, especially if you have no reses. So, you want to, just saying, tell your teammates, just die quicker. Stagger how you go down, depending on how many res special actions he has. And just to be aware of that in general. Now, if you ever have team heals, it's a pet peeve of mine that people don't know how to use team heals properly. Please, team heals are very valuable on you. Because if you use a res on someone, you only have 1 res. Now, if you have another teammate out there, what I like to do is, when I have 1 res up only, that's when I want to start using my team heals. Because if I use both my reses up, my only option is a team heal, and it takes forever for both res to come back up. But if only 1 is down, it's 45 seconds, and maybe if you use the team heal, you can stall out long enough to where they live, and then you have both your reses up again. Oh my god, I think I'm done. If I think of anything else, oh well, I'll put it in the description. I gave you the tools. You should be able to figure out anything else that ever happens. If anything ever changes on this guy, you should be able to figure it out. Always go to the official Discord. You can ask other people. And if this question is in the guide already, I'm not replying. But there's a lot more people that's be more than willing to go to reply. So go to the official Discord and get your questions answered. Yeah. I think I'm done. Appreciate the watch. Probably won't be seeing you guys because I'm kind of done with this character and this game. So this is my gift to you guys. Hopefully in the next tourney, you guys can do way better than I did. Be more aggressive. Don't play scared. That was my biggest problem. Be confident in being able to kill their teams with your teammates. And pop off. Let's see some clips.